Hi and thank you for coming back. Again, I'm on the Idaho 4 on this video. I'm going to be covering Bryan Kohberger. He's the gentleman who has been arrested on suspicion of the crime. Now in this video, it's just me going through what's out there in regards to his arrest and what they believe may have happened that night in regards to himself. I'm going on what is out there on social media as well, because there's not really much out there regarding his family. We do know that he grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania where he lived with his parents and his two sisters. He attended a school, so it being high school, where his mum also worked. It was in high school where he was actually bullied for being overweight. So in his senior year, he managed to lose about 100 pounds. We know that he didn't really get along with one of his sisters, something about a phone getting stolen and police being called. We are also aware that there has been issues with substance abuse in his part, to which he has then bettered himself and got into university. And it was let's have a look. Kohberger continued studying at the university in Pennsylvania, where he graduated in 2020 with a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in criminal justice. So he's a very smart man as well. He's aware of what happens in the criminal law. It's something he is actually pursuing. It's prior to the murders that Kohberger faced disciplinary action in his teaching assistant role at WSU. So he was a teaching assistant, and apparently he also graded quite harshly. Now, we don't know if there's any connection between Mr. Kohberger and the victims. We're not aware of that. What we do know is that at the scene of a crime, there was a knife sheath that was left behind, and it has been established that Bryan Kohberger's DNA is on that knife sheath through touch DNA. I'm not sure whether everybody's aware what touch DNA is. So touch DNA is like this. I've got a crochet hook and my friend decides she wants to try crochet. So I go here, lend her a crochet hook, and she starts doing her crochet. She gives me it back, but she's got my DNA on her hand now. And she could go somewhere like Tesco and pick up donuts and then put them back because she didn't want the donuts. And somebody else could pick up the donuts, take them home, unfortunately meet a horrible intruder in the house, but my DNA is on those donuts. But I've never met this person and I've not been anywhere near them. That's how touch DNA works, if I'm correct in thinking. You can prove me wrong if I'm wrong. This is why you have to do your own research at times. So put the hook down. So touch DNA was found on the scene through a knife sheath. Now the knife has not actually been found. As far as we are aware, it's not being found. And somehow they've managed to grab this little bit of DNA from this knife sheath, find out that it's touch DNA, and link it through genealogy all the way to Bryan Kohberger's dad. And it came up that the DNA was of a male descendant from him. So it meant that it was Bryan Kohberger's DNA that was found on the knife sheath. But as far as I'm aware, they can't actually use that in court at the moment either, and it's quite a lot of bone of contention for quite a lot of people. But he is pretty much unknown. Now, there's not much that can link him to the actual scene. Now, there's loads about the cars, and police had them looking for one car, then they had them looking for a different car, and then it was a completely different car that they weren't looking for, asking people to look for, and that was the car that they needed in the end. It gets so confusing, and this is what I mean now. So literally, that's all we know about Bryan. We know that he's a harsh marker, and that he's a bit quiet at times. I mean, there has been stories that come out of people who say they're their friends. I have to do it in air quotations because I don't know for definite whether they are their friends or not. But not really stating it as much of a bad guy or anything. And I think that's where quite a lot of people are getting really annoyed when it comes to how it's all panning out, because now that they're in court, Bryan will come to court sometimes in a suit, because now he's in that position where he's allowed to be, he is presumed innocent until proven guilty, so he is allowed to wear a suit. It's allowed, and quite a lot of people are getting a bit upset about that. It's like, well, it's a suit, which is a bit weird that you're getting upset about a suit, but the mainstream media is pretty much pushing the narrative that he did do this, and they're not going with that he's innocent until proven guilty. They're going with, he did this and we need to make sure that justice is served. It's like, you can't actually say that until justice has been served. And I'm not saying he's innocent, I'm not saying he's guilty. What I'm saying is the media has a very strong voice, and they need to be careful, because I mean, they could even get done for slander when they turn around and say he's done this. And YouTubers technically could be as well, because if it turns out that he has been framed in some way, shape or form, because the information that we've got out there isn't strong in my mind, but I don't go, I'm not from that neck of the woods, but it is a bit odd how there's not much information out there, and when they're asking for certain information because they're adamant he did this, so the defence is going, can we have this information now, please? And they're turning around and saying, oh, ask us again 9 times. And that's when you go, why are you being a bit quiet about it? Now, Bryan Kohberger's parents haven't come forward, and neither have any of his siblings, as far as I'm aware. And personally, I think that the reason why they've done that is because they know that there's a lot of people out there who've pretty much hung their son for this, and no matter what they say, they're just going to get abuse for it. At the end of the day, they're his parents, and they're going to want to be proving his innocence. And when you've got YouTubers out there who are pretty much pushing the narrative that he did this, and when you have a platform where you've got millions of subscribers and that is what you're pushing out, it's kind of a bit, be careful what you say. So that's why I'll never say that he's innocent, and I'll never say that he's guilty. I'll say that certain bits of information don't look right. I'll say that sometimes when I'm looking at certain things, it doesn't marry up with what I'm looking at out there, and I can't get the argument in place in my head, but I will always try and argue both sides. So that is pretty much it on this video. It is a very quick video of me just saying, look, this is Bryan Kohberger. This is a person who's been arrested for this is Bryan Kohberger. This is a person who's been arrested for the crimes of the Idaho 4. So my next video is going to be me going on about the trial, I guess, and going through different arguments on different sides and trying to go through and help everybody understand where everybody sits on it, because I don't really like the fact that people argue and then trying to push their opinions on people. No, if you talk to people, you can have actually that chance of changing somebody's opinion if you are nice and can give a valid argument. Simple as. So I'm ending it on that one, and I am going to do another video now, and it's going to be completely different. I have got a croaky voice coming on, so I will get a drink first, but I will see you in the next one. Peace. Bye.